Hello, guys. First of all, thank you for your overwhelming response for the Telegram groups as well as the YouTube channel. You people have shown me immense love, and I am very, very grateful and humbled. Now, there were a lot of requests regarding some of the retinoscopy questions and the ever important your PARC 3-step test. So, I decided to take that. Okay, so I have taken a particular question so that I can explain that PARC step test. Also, there was some confusion about the head tilt, so we will be discussing all these things here. So let us see what is the question. The question says that a patient presented to you having the head tilt towards the right side. On examination, he was having the left hypertropia and it is increasing on looking towards the right, that is medially, and they are asking you the extraocular muscle which is paralyzed here. So I will tell you, just go with these 3 steps. Okay, don't start thinking or churning in your mind. Just go that way, go that three step wise, and you will be there with the answer without any hassles. So first step is that always, if you see the step 1, always see that which eye is having hypertropia, which eye is hypertropic, right? We always take with respect to the hypertropia, like maybe one eye is having hypotropia, then what we say, the other eye is having hypertropia. So by convention we always analyze as per the hypertropia. Okay, so now they are saying, suppose this is the right eye and this is the left eye. Now one thing I also want to make it clear, because some of the faculties may be using the other way around, like it is as per one's own convenience, but I will tell you that why I am doing this. I always take this as the right eye and this is the left eye. While some people say that my right eye will go with this right eye same, and this will go with the left eye. No, because the patient, when I'm seeing a patient, he will be facing me, so my right will be his left and his left will be my right. So it is like this. So that is why I take always this as the right eye. So this is my perspective and I'm also comfortable in it. And if you do not have any preferred one, then I will suggest that take this. But if you're already comfortable with that, then go on with this. There is no problem. Okay, so the step number 1 is look that which eye is having hypertropia. Now they say that the left eye is having the hypertropia. So left eye, I will say, is having the hypertropia. Okay. Now, as I am saying that when they say that one eye is having hypertropia, maybe the other eye is having hypotropia, and because this eye has gone down, so there is a relative hypertropia of the other eye. So that means I can say that when they are saying that there is left eye hypertropia, maybe there is right eye hypotropia. Okay. So now there are 2 possibilities. When I am saying that the left eye hypertropia, this has gone up. So the depressors have paralyzed. Or what we can say that the right eye has gone into hypotropia, elevators are paralyzed. So this side we can have the depressor palsy, while on this side I can have the elevator palsy. So this is very, very clear, and this you can think in your mind also, because many times students say that we will not have the paper and pen, and that is why I do not document the triangle method, which you may have seen many people show that and document that, because you will not be having the paper and pen to draw the triangle there. So it's not good that you try that, because if you are habitual of that, then at the time of examination you will be in trouble because you won't be having the paper and pen there. But this much you can think in your mind: this eye hypertropia, so depressor palsy; this eye hypotropia, elevator palsy. Now we can conveniently write here which are the depressors of the left eye. So left inferior rectus and the left superior oblique, everybody knows this, right? And what are the elevators? Elevators can be right superior rectus and the right inferior oblique. So the first step is that I have got the 4 muscles, and many a times they will give you these 4 muscles, okay, in the option. So now I have right superior rectus, right inferior oblique, left inferior rectus and the left superior oblique. So this is my first step. I am not seeing anything, I am just seeing this. Now step number 2. The step number 2, what you have to see, that it is increasing in which head tilt. Just simple see that this hypertropia is increasing in, it is increasing in which gaze first. It is increasing in which gaze. So whether it is increasing on seeing towards right or whether it is increasing in seeing towards left. Now they are saying that it is increasing on seeing right or medially. It is increasing on seeing towards the right or medially. Now see here, when these eyes look towards right, so what will happen? Right eye is also seeing towards right and the left eye is also seeing towards right. When I am seeing towards right, that means this eye will also see towards the right and this eye is also seeing towards right. So now what is happening with my right eye? When I am seeing rightward with my right eye, this is going into abduction. So I will write abduction here, and when I am seeing towards right, my left eye is going into adduction. So I have written abduction and adduction here. Now you know that which muscles will elevate more in abduction and which muscles will elevate or depress more in adduction. So we know that maximum elevation and depression in abduction will be done by the rectus muscles, this we already know, and maximum elevation and depression in the oblique muscles is done by the adducted. So here we have the obliques and there we have the rectus muscles. So that means from this right eye I have to choose a rectus muscle like this, and in the left eye I have to choose a oblique muscle like this. So out of the 4 options, now you are left with the 2 options. 2 are cancelled. This cannot be there, this cannot be there. So you are there. Now suppose you are not having both these options in the question, so your answer is right away. Don't even go for the next step, because that will just lose your time, because only these 2 can be there and you are not having any one in the options. Okay. But if you are having and you want to check, you have enough time, so you can go for the step 3. Then go for the step 3. Step 3 says that it increases in which head tilt. It increases in which head tilt. So see here, now go to the question back, and they are saying that the patient is presenting with the head tilted towards right. Now this does not mean that it is increasing in the right head tilt. The main problem is that when the question says that the patient comes with the right head tilt, you say that it is increasing in right head tilt. Now always remember that this head tilt is always compensatory head tilt. This is always a compensatory head tilt. Now because it is a compensatory head tilt, will the patient compensate towards that side in which his hypertropia will increase? No. If he is going towards right, that means it will decrease on that side. That is why he is compensating. So what will be your thing? That means his head tilt will increase towards left. So it is increasing in the left side. So what will happen? It is increasing in the left head tilt. So what will happen when he tilt his head towards the left side? This was your right eye. Now see very carefully, and this is your left eye. This is your third step, the head tilt test. There was a confusion that why head tilt test is only applicable for the superior oblique. Yes, it can be done for the lateral rectus, But basically the head tilt test we are using for the fourth nerve. Why? Because we are using the Park step test for the vertical squint, and the lateral rectus causes only the horizontal squint. That is why the head tilt test is mainly applicable for the superior oblique or the fourth nerve palsy. So that should be very, very clear. Now the left head tilt like this. So the head is going like this and head is going like this. Now what will happen? There is a counter rolling mechanism. We have always discussed this, right? So if the left we are tilting the head like this, what will happen? The same side eye will intort and the other eye will extort. So if you are tilting the head towards the left, what is happening? This eye will go like this. So this will intort while this eye is going like this. So this will extort. Now what will happen? You always know that we have seen superiors are intorters. So that means we have inferiors. Inferiors will cause extorsion. Therefore, inferior will cause extorsion. So either I should have a superior muscle in the left eye or I should have a inferior muscle in the right eye. Now what were the two options that we were having? Left superior oblique or it was the right superior rectus. So both are the superior muscles. In the left eye it should intort. Yes, this can intort, so this can be our muscle, right? In the right eye it should extort. Now this is a superior muscle, so this is not the answer. So see, very easily and conveniently you have got your muscle left superior oblique. So first thing, always see which eye is having hypertropia. So what will happen? Depressors of that side or elevators of the other side, right? Then go with the second step. It is increasing in which gaze? Second. And third, it is increasing in which head tilt. So if they have already given you the head tilt, you have to take the opposite one because that is a compensatory head tilt. If they are saying that it is increasing in that head tilt, then you have to go with that. But if they say that the head is tilted towards this side, that means it is decreasing on that side. That is why patient has adopted that head tilt. So I think now it's very, very clear. Then I will take one more thing. Now here the second important thing is the retinoscopy as well as how to calculate these spectacle numbers from the given retinoscopic findings. So again there is a lot of confusion between the two things. So again we'll try to work it out. Now see this. This is what you call as the retinoscopy, right? Retinoscopy that we can do with the help of a plane mirror. We can do with the self-illuminated streak retinoscopes. We can also do it with the self-illuminated streak retinoscopes. Now what you are getting when we are using the self-illuminated streak retinoscope, you have to move it horizontally also, you have to move it vertically also, and you have to see whether the movement is same in both the axes or it is different in both the axes. If it is same in both the axes, that means we have only spherical correction, no astigmatism. If it is different, then that means there is a astigmatism. So there can be a horizontal power also, there can be a vertical power also. So what are the interpretations, how you have to go? So what will happen? This is the neutral. Here I will have the no movement. Here there will be no movement. So if I am getting no movement, that means that the myopia, patient is having myopia which is exactly equal to 1 diopter minus 1 diopter, I can say. So if I am not getting any movement, I can simply say that here I am having myopia which is exactly equal to 1 diopter. Now with movement means the reflex is also moving in the same direction in which I am moving, and against, that means the opposite direction. So I am moving like this, reflex is moving like this. I am moving like this, reflex is moving like this. So this is opposite. So when they are moving in the same direction with motion, this means either the myopia is less than 1 diopter, right? Or it can be emetropia, or the third possibility is that the patient is having hypermetropia. I will explain you why. Because it was neutralized at -1. So if you are going below -1 power, that means I will get the same direction. So below -1, what will happen? Either we are going less than -1, so it can be 0.75, 0.5 like this, or you are coming to 0 power, that is emmetropia, or you are going even below this, that will be your hypermetropia. Because if you are going above, that is more than this baseline 1 diopter, then you are getting opposite direction. So opposite direction means myopia more than 1 diopter. So this is a clear-cut, very simple interpretation, and you have to see only the power here. See only the power. So only and only power has to be considered when you have to decide that it will move in which particular direction. Like for example, I have taken example here. They are saying that retinoscopy is done in a patient who is having minus 0.5 diopter. So myopia is there 0.5. 0.5 means it is myopia less than 1 diopter patient is having from a distance of 1 meter. So how will be the movement taking place? So you don't have to consider any tonus here. You don't have to consider any distance factor here. Just it is less than 1 diopter myopia. So simply it will move in the same direction. Simply you have to say that the movement will be in the same direction. So there should not be any problem in this. Okay. Now let us see one more question. Here on performing a retinoscopy, here we are doing with the help of a plane mirror, and a person is having a refractive error of -3 diopter spherical with -2 diopter cylindrical at 90. And again they have given you a distance also. We are doing it at a distance of 1 meter, plane mirror. What would be the reflex? Now in such kind of questions, you don't have to jump directly. In such kind of a questions, you have to first convert it into retinoscopic findings. So if they are saying that it is -3 diopter spherical and -2 diopter cylinder at 90 degree. So let us try to convert it into retinoscopic finding. So in this I will be explaining you how to convert it into retinoscopic findings, and you will also get to know that what kind of astigmatism it is. So we will revise that also. So here is the retinoscopic finding. How will you do it? This is spherical, right? Spherical means equal in all the axes. So -3 will be in this plane also and -3 in this plane also, right? Now they are saying that it is -2 cylinder at 90 degree, -2 diopter cylinder at 90 degree, right? Now we already know that the power of the cylinder always acts perpendicularly. So if I am giving at 90, it will act at 180. So I will have to add it at horizontal level, right? So now I will have -3 here and -5 here. This is your 90 degree and this will be your 180 degree. So in the two axes I have got different power. So obviously this is astigmatism. Yes or no? What was astigmatism? Different power in the two axes. So if I am having different power in the two axes, I can say that this is astigmatism, right? Now what kind of astigmatism it is? What kind? See here, -3 and -5. So both are minus signs, right? And none of them is emmetropic. If one is emmetropia and another we have power, then it becomes simple. But here we have both the powers. So it becomes your compound astigmatism, and because both are minus, so it is compound myopic astigmatism. Now let us again see. First of all, we have got difference in the power, so it is astigmatism. None of them is emmetropic, so it is not simple. So now it is compound. Now in compound, because we are having same signs in both. If it is 1 plus 1 minus, it is mixed. If it is both minus, then compound hypermetropic, both minus compound myopic. So now I can say that it is compound myopic astigmatism. But they are not asking this. They are asking you that what will be the movement of the reflex. So for the movement of the reflex, I should know what is the amount of the refractive error, whether it is myopia equal to 1 diopter, whether it is more than 1 diopter, whether it is less than 1 diopter, or it is hypermetropia or it is emmetropia. So I know that in both the axes myopia more than 1 diopter, because minus 3 and minus 5, both of them are more than 1 diopter. Now because both of them are more than 1 diopter, therefore it will be against the movement in both the axes. So it is very clear. Now suppose you may get any question where you have 0 power in one axis and you have got minus 1 in one axis. You can get different kind of combinations. So let us try to see what is happening here. Now if it is myopia exactly 1 diopter here, so therefore in the vertical axis there will be no movement. So what will be the answer? In the vertical axis I won't have any movement, it will be neutralized. Here this is emetropia. So emetropia means therefore in horizontal axis I will have the same direction. So in like this also they can ask you. Then let us take one more example. Suppose they say here 0 and here we have plus 3, right? And another option, then we have got another option where we have 0 in 1, 0 suppose here, and here I have minus 3. So what will be the difference in the movements? So let us see one by one. Here one is having emetropia. Emetropia means same direction. This is your hypermetropia. Hypermetropia again means same. So here I will have movement in the same direction in both the axes. So their answer will be movement in same direction in both the axes. While if you see the other option, here one is having emetropia. Emetropia means same direction, while another is having myopia more than 1 diopter. That will be the opposite direction. So now I can say that in the vertical axis we will be having the same direction. In the horizontal axis I will be having the opposite direction. So any combination of the numbers, just remember 3 things: myopia exactly 1 diopter, no movement; more than 1 diopter, opposite; and rest other is the same. Okay. Now coming to the third thing, that is your prescription of glasses. Prescription of the glasses. So actually it is the prescription of the glasses when we have to give the refractive correction, that you have to apply the distance factor also, and then you have to apply your tonus allowance also. So what happens now after getting the retinoscopic findings? Suppose you have calculated the retinoscopic findings like this. Maybe it can be plus 3 and plus 5. Suppose you have get this retinoscopic finding. So what we do? So whenever we get the retinoscopic findings, you cannot give the glasses directly. So what we have to do from this retinoscopic findings, I have to first deduct the distance factor, right? Distance factor. And I have to deduct the tonus also, right? Now how to calculate this distance factor? This will be equal to 1 upon the distance. 1 upon the distance, and distance is taken in meters. So 1 upon distance in meters, you take the distance from which you have done the retinoscopy, you have to reduce that factor, and then we have to also deduct the tonus. Tonus can be different for the different drugs, like if you look at the atropine. For atropine it is 1. Then we can have the cyclopentolate. If you are using the cyclopentolate, you have to reduce it by the 0.5, right? And if you are using the homatropine, for homatropine we are having 0.5 or we are having the 0.75. So we have got different kind of alliance that we are using. And if you are looking for the tropicamide, so most of the times we are not reducing it, because tropicamide, the allowance is 0. So these are the tonuses that you have to reduce. So let us take this example. I have got this retinoscopic findings and I have to give the refractive error correction to this person. So how should I give the spectacles to this person? So it is plus 3 here and it plus 5 here. And suppose we are doing it from a distance of 1 meter. So for the ease of calculation, I am taking it as 1 meter. and maybe you are using the atropine, right? You are using the atropine here. So what we have to do, from this I have to reduce 1 upon distance of meter, so -1, and then we are using atropine, so -1 again. Similarly, -1 and -1 here. So now the final one you are getting is +1 here and +3 here. So now this is your final findings. Okay, now how to give them as spectacles? Now can you see here, we have got the difference in the refractive power. On one side we have +1, another side we have +3. So this means this patient is having the astigmatism. Now because this patient is having astigmatism, therefore you have to give the cylinders, right? So how to give and how to decide which one is the sphere, which one is a cylinder, and how much amount of sphere or how much amount of cylinder has to be given. So what we do here, take anyone as a sphere. So suppose I take this +1 as a diopter spherical, right? So this will become your cylinder, right? So because when you are giving the cylinder, suppose I have already given +1 diopter spherical. So now spherical means it has started acting in all the gases. So in this particular direction, when I want to give the cylinder, I will have to reduce the sphere. So what is the formula? That is sphere with cylinder minus sphere. So now because I have chosen this as a sphere, this becomes a cylinder. So I will take +3, but I have to reduce the spherical correction because that I have already given. So I will reduce the -1 from this because this was a sphere at. Now this you have to give at a perpendicular axis. Why? Now see here, this cylinder is at 180 degree. Now if I give it at 180, it will act perpendicularly, that is 90. Okay, so if I want the cylinder to act at 180, I will have to give it at 90. So give it at 90 degree. So my specs correction will be +1 diopter spherical and +3 diopter cylinder, which is given at 90 degree. So this is one correction that I can give, one form of the spectacle prescription that I can give. Now if you don't want to give this, we can choose the other one also, like it was +1 here and +3 here. What is the other option? The other option is that if I choose this as sphere, so +3 diopter spherical. Suppose a patient says that I am more comfortable with the +3 diopter spherical, right? So this becomes a cylinder. So now +1 -3, because now this is a cylinder and this is your sphere. So we have to reduce it, and now because you have to give the cylinder at 90, so now I will give it 180 degree. So now I will give it at 180 degree. So what will happen, because now I have to give at the 90 degree, so I will prescribe at 180 degree. So this will become +3 diopter spherical with -2 diopter cylinder at the 180 degree. So this becomes your next prescription. Any of the two prescriptions we can give. So it is only for the prescription of the glasses that you have to apply the deduction for the distance factor, for the tonus allowance, not for the retinoscopy. For the retinoscopy, just see the movement according to the myopia equal to 1 diopter, more than 1 diopter, less than 1 diopter, hypermetropia or emetropia. So I hope your queries must have been cleared, whatever messages I had got and whatever I could get that are the problems that you people are facing. I tried to solve them. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and please do share it also to your friends, your juniors whom you feel are in need of this, and also tell me in the comment section what are the other videos you would like me to prepare. Thank you. Happy ophthalmology.